We're gonna stay on our mat pretty much the whole time, but I'm thinking warm up. Do we want to do seated or standing warm up? I set my camera angle low, so if I stand up, my head will be chopped off. But we could do standing warm up anyway. Let's start seated and let's just see how it goes. So find like a crisscross or butterfly, some kind of seated position that's comfortable for you to start in. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, if you have like a cushion or a sweatshirt or like just some pillow or something, have that nearby just in case you need to like sit on it or put it under your hips or something. Just have something handy to like pad and make sure that your alignment is all good. Sorry, I keep looking. It's different when I'm down here. All right, let's sit, and we'll just start with a few little head rolls and shoulder rolls and stuff like that to get going. So sit up tall. Let's just start with head going side. Nice and super duper slow. And then to the front. See if we can stay tall as you do these. Over to the other side. And then back. Recover and let's reverse it. Let's go side slow. And then chin tucked in, down. Over to the other side. And then back around. Let's just take the shoulders back a couple times here. Roll. And then reverse. Let's take the fingertips to the shoulders, roll back. And then reverse. And let's see if we can do like a bigger arm circle, but a little bit slower. 4 times, same thing. So see how close together you can get your hands at the back. Let's reverse it. Should start to feel that warming up between the shoulder blades. And let's go ahead and rest fingertips out to the sides here. We'll go reaching up and over with one side. So actually, let's take this into a butterfly so that we're doing this kind of properly. And let's go ahead and just press the flats of the feet all the way together. I'm gonna, as always, borrow some Graham technique for floor bar today. So let's press the feet together fully along as much as you can of the flat part. And let's go reach over here. So as you reach over, careful that you're not rocking or tipping. Just reaching. You can rest your elbow down if that's accessible to you. And then slowly, let's poke the belly button in so that you can carve forward. To the front, and then roll it up. So starting to get a little bit of movement through the spine. Let's go the other way. Reach up and over. Careful that your hip isn't flying off. And then poke the belly button in. And then roll it up. Head comes up last. Let's go again here. Try to squeeze that opposite knee down. Poke the belly button in to come forward. Roll it up. And other side. Last time. Squeeze the feet together. I forgot. Belly button pokes in. Cool. Let's just rock side to side. And if you want to, change your orientation so you've got some space behind you so that we can do some little roly-polies because they're fun. Hug your knees in and just go rolling back and then up, all right? I'm just gonna do a whole bunch. So catch up if you need to. Put something extra down under your spine if you need to. Whatever it may be. And just roll around for a moment. Believe it or not, this is for your core. Let's try that in a butterfly position too. So sit tall, find your ankles, and then see if you can still roll. If you're finding you're like thunking and clunking all over the place, make your spine even more rounded, like tuck your pelvis under even. Especially on the way up. Last one. All right, cool. Let's come to our little tuck position here. Do a teeny bit of core before we do more technique things. So let's float the toes up here and let's just go side to side. If you need to rest your heels on the floor, of course you can. Change the intensity if you need to. Let's keep going, a few more here. See if you can, actually let's go slow and let's reach around. Come back to center, reach around. So I'm trying to put the back of my arm against the outside leg, but without twisting my legs. See if you can just find that position, come back to center, find it. A little bit more of a spine twist. Maybe even a little bit of a shoulder stretch. All right, let's recover here. Find your little tuck, and then stretch it out, out, out. Scoop it in, sit up nice and tall, and then stretch it slow. Scoop back in. You can always do this with your feet on the floor, sliding them out. Scoop. Last one in a moment here. Hold it. And then slowly lower yourself down. Rest. And then roll over onto your belly once you're able to. Give yourself a little bit of a stretch, so go ahead and take the hands underneath your shoulder blades, or underneath your shoulders. Squeeze the elbows in, and then just press yourself up. Little stretch here. So as you do this, try not to like sink into your shoulders. Squeeze your shoulder blades kind of together and down. And neck is quite long. You can even twist a little bit if you feel like it. Okay, roll yourself down. Let's just do a couple of little back extensions in this position. Hands behind the ears. We're going to lift up the back 1. And lower down nice and slow. 2. Lower. 3. 4. Last one, hold it. 5. If you have space in front of you, take your arms port de bras over the head to 5th. Open to 2nd. Bring it back to the ears. Lower down. And then go ahead and arch through your back if you need to. Drop your head down. And if it feels good, go ahead and sit back on your heels. All right, let's come back to the center, to sitting here. Let's do technique. Let's take the feet flat together again. Sorry, it just keeps sliding everything around. I'm gonna go through a basic kind of explanation of a Graham contract and release little series. We're gonna do kind of some breathings, but basically it's just to continue to get your core engaged in a more like deliberate way. So you're actually thinking about what you're doing. So find a position where you're able to sit really tall, shoulders stacked right on top of hips. If that means you need to put something under your bum, do it, because if you're kind of swinging back here, this isn't stacked. You should be right on top of your sits bones. You should be able to kind of wiggle around and feel where those might be pressing into the floor or into your flesh. If you need to scoot your butt out of the way, do that. But be able to sit tall is my point here. Not here, here. So shoulders stacked on top of hips. This doesn't change. This stays. Feet are flat together. In this position, see if you can do a little contraction in here. Shoulders are still stacked on top of hips, but in between them, that bit of your spine has kind of poked out. It's like you're throwing up, is how we explain it to kids. That's the feeling where it's like, huh, like in here, this sharp little contraction. And then from here, actually, let's just try that a couple times. So release that, sit tall again, and then do your little contraction here. Contract, release, contract, release, contract, release, contract. It's a very small movement. Contract, release. Okay, so when we do the contraction here, now you're gonna duck your head down towards your feet. This isn't like a smell your toes type of thing. This is a crown of the head to the feet. So you're creating this tunnel underneath your body. That's the idea. It's very round. You should feel more of a stretch on the back of your neck than you would here. All right, here. Now from this position, you release. So now you're tilted forward, but the back is flat, like a slide. And then you return, you recover. That's like the 4 steps. So you have your contract here, you duck your head down here, still contracted, then you release from the belly button, and then you sit up. That release, just like the contraction goes in here, boom, the release comes out of there, whoosh, and you're able to extend. All right, that's the thing. So keep the feet pressed fully together, like smush them tight, and then let's go here. Contract, duck forward, release, sit up, and then again, contract, duck forward, release, sit up tall, 2 more like that, contract, duck forward, release, sit up tall, and 1 more time, contract here, duck forward, release, and let's speed it up. See if you can still articulate each. Contract, forward, release, up, contract, forward, release. Again. Last one. So if you're feeling quite a bit of pinching in the hips, that's okay. It's a little bit of a weird one. You can also do this with legs crossed, like this. It's just a little bit more technique to think about. So hopefully your core is a little bit warm. Let's do some pliés, drawing from this type of thing. So what we're gonna do is start in our bent plié position. First position, like a butterfly, but your toes are open. Your pliés are gonna be here on the floor. You're gonna press all the way out, and as you do, we're gonna extend all the way, because we can, because we're not standing on the floor. Then flex and pull all the way back in. So again here, if you have a hard time sitting in a pike position without your lower back going, just sit on top of something, or if your hamstrings are tight today, whatever it may be, so you're able to stay stacked. So the sequence I want to do, we're going to start focusing on the heels, leading that action and finishing that action, and then pinky toes are going to fan open as much as you can as you point, and then as you flex, again the pinkies are fanning open, and then you're letting the knees relax as you pull this in. Notice my heels are flying up. It's because I'm focusing so much on what the heels are doing, and you have that availability. Sorry for my socks scraping on the floor. You have that availability in the space, so you can actually lift up your heels and get a little bit more range in your turnout. It's just passive range. All right, pinky toes fly open, and then scoot back in, Let's go again here, ready? Heels press forward. Then pinky toes take you all the way. Open. Relax the knees, let the heels fly up. Okay, let's go ahead and bring the feet in. Grab onto toes. Glue your belly to your thighs. And then if you're able to slide, do it. If not, just like shimmy your feet out for as long as you can, keeping this closed and like chest lifted, neck long. So if you only get to here, you know, with tons of space underneath, that's fine. Work there. Work where you're able to keep this angle small. Oh my gosh. I thought these socks would slide better, but I guess not. Alright, find that kind of end point for you. Maybe I should have worn fluffy socks. These ones squeak. And as always, I invite you to just wiggle around in your stretches. If you want to kind of see what they feel like in a slightly different position, that's all good too. Alright, let's come back. Let's do one more round of the pliés here. So heels press out a little bit quicker this time. Pull it in, and stay tall. Shoulders stacked on top of hips. Press out. Pull in. Again, keep going out. Pull in. Press out. Pull in. Okay, just find your butterfly pointed and find that lifted ankle position. So it's just my pinky toes that are basically touching the floor, kind of the outside of my foot, but I've lifted my heels, so they're not just resting here. I hope you guys are able to see that on the screen. I've lifted them so that my ankle is straight. It's not sickled here. But let's just try to lift and drop, lift, drop, lift. If your legs are too close, this might be tricky, so take them a bit further out. Just lift and drop, lift and drop. Bunch of reps. You can put your hands on your knees just to remind them to stay down, because this isn't knees going, it's just ankles, very small. You can do one at a time if you take one leg straight, and then you can really feel it if you stretch into your sickle here, and then pop it up. Drop and then pop it up here. So being able to find your way back to a straight ankle position. This is muscles out here working. It's your peroneals. Last couple here. They should start to feel a little bit warm. I'll then trade sides. Make sure that knee stays, and it's just your ankle changing kind of from a you're finding a little bit of eversion basically here. Alright, cool. Hopefully you guys feel that. Really quick before we continue, actually, we're gonna touch on that again in a second. Well, let's just try this. Stand up for a moment, or just kind of, don't even stand all the way, just like have a forward fold, I guess. And just rock out onto the side of the outside of one foot. That stretch that you feel pretty much immediately behind your ankle and up the side of your shin, that's the muscle that we've been working there. So if you ever, are feeling that a little bit too much for comfort, hop into this little stretch and give yourself a bit of a break. You can put hands on the floor, whatever. Make sure you hold it for 10-15 seconds or so before you switch to the other side. Rock open, see if you find that stretch behind the ankle right outside of your shin. Let's do one more time on each leg. It's good practice to repeat your stretches more than once. It'll be a lot more effective in the long run. All right, and then other leg. If you're starting to get like pins and needles, just, wiggle your toes around. We're going to come back to the mat in a second. Actually, if you have a wall nearby, or like a bookshelf or the back of a couch or anything vertical, see if you can like scoot over to that. Otherwise, no problem. You can just do this laying down on your back. But plies, if you scoot all the way up against the wall and do your plies here, it'll give you a little bit of a different focus than what we just did. Because now gravity's not really helping you keep your turnout. You kind of have to do that part yourself. And you'll notice you probably aren't able to get your heels off quite as much. It's a little bit more similar to how it is when you're standing. If you're able to, try a couple of those. If you don't have a wall, you can try just, off the wall. It's even harder. It's a bit of a different exercise. But see what you can work with. Today's kind of our day to try these things out in different positions than the usual standing. All right, last one here. Okay, actually stick near your wall or vertical surface if you have it. And this time let's just sit in a pike against it on something if you need to be able to stay tall. Oh, I'm probably not talking into the mic, am I? All right. So you can stay parallel for this just to try it out. If you need to lean back a little bit, that's okay too. Basically, get your heels as close to the wall as you can. We're gonna simulate tendus on the floor. So keep the knees straight and then start to slide out until you're fully extended. Okay, so you notice you really have to go through the foot if we're doing this on the wall. You can't bend your knee. Try the other side too. All the way to stretch. Then through the toes, through the ball of the foot, through the heel. You have to keep that contact, because if you bend your knee, you're already coming off of the wall. Keep going. So you have to make your leg longer in order to make this work. That's sort of the feeling. Keep the leg stretching out far to be able to do tendu on the wall. And if your knee is bending, your leg is not getting longer, it's getting shorter. So don't let it bend. That's what I talk about when we're standing, about these little cheat kind of micro releases. Don't do that. Let's try turned out. Find your first position. This is going to feel a little bit different. You have to now lead with that inner heel to get the leg going. So squeeze the legs tight together, and then you'll be able to scoop all the way up and then press through the foot all the way down. Other side, same thing. Scoop up, press through the foot, don't lose the turnout. You're working here to keep the heel coming forward first. If you need to lean back on your elbows, go ahead and do that. As long as you can kind of see your feet and you're still pressing into the wall, try a couple more. Press through, knee stays straight. Pinky toe leads the way in. Heel leads out. Pinky toe leads the way in. Last two. Pinky toe leads the way in. And last one. Pinky toe leads in. All right, let's do a little exercise for those tendus on the mat. Let me check the time. I don't even know what time it is. I don't know how to pace this class. It's so unusual. All right, perfect. So let's go on the mat. You can go either seated if you want like a super challenge, or reclining on your elbows. Both are good. We're gonna squeeze the legs tight together, turned out. We're gonna do an exercise for tendus. So we're gonna start with 4 regular extensions here with the same leg, 4 in a row. I'll talk through it first. Then we do 2 flex point. Flex point. This is to check that you're actually turned out. Okay? We keep going with the same leg. 4 more. And then the end, we do turn in, turn out. And this is inside the hip. So you should be able to lift and just like wiggle. Turn in, turn out, turn in, turn out. You can do that on the floor too. That's the whole sequence. We'll do one leg and then the other leg. Maybe again. I don't know. Haven't decided. We'll see what happens when we get there. Okay. Whatever the next song is, we're using it. Find your position. Squeeze legs tight together. Yes, no, maybe. Okay, we're going here. Lift and lower. That's going to be the tempo. Okay, in 5, 6, 7. Here we go. Let's lift, lower. 2, and it's not that high. 3, 4. Now we do our flex points. We go lift, flex, point, lower down. Remember, your legs have to stay long. Okay, so don't bend the knee. Let's lift again 4 times. 2, 3. If your leg is tired, you can do the turn in, turn out on the floor. Otherwise, lift, turn in, turn out, lower down. Keep the legs long. Try not to bend the knee. Other leg, right away. Here we go. Lift, up, lower. 2, lower. 3, lower. 4, lower. Let's flex and point. Flex, point, lower down, lift, flex, point, lift again 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. This time turn in and out. Turn in, turn out, lower down, turn in, turn out. You should be feeling that here. Rest for a moment. We're going to do a little bit more in this position. If you have a ball, have it handy. Otherwise, it's okay. I teach this exercise without a ball all the time. It's doable. This just helps a little bit. So, I'm going to put it, let me do it this way so you guys can see what I'm doing first round. I'm going to put it right next to my legs. The first set that we do is just going to be using it as an obstacle to go up and over and then back, okay? Up and over and then back. Then, rest your ankle on top of it and, let's see, you should probably be a little bit closer to me. Rest your ankle on top. You're going to roll it in closer to you with the knee going out and the ankle going up and extend. This is your attitude position. So notice I'm not going this way. I'm not letting my ankle sickle. I'm keeping the ankle active and letting the knee go open to turn out. You're just going to try this a few times here. If you haven't got a ball, no big deal. You can still work on that. Trying to carve with your heel up and letting the knee fall out to the side. It's just harder work without a ball. All right, so here we go. Let's put the obstacle, whether you have one or not, on the outside of your leg, and let's lift up and over here. Rond de jambe 1, bring it in. 2, try to maintain a turnout. 3, 4, let's do 8 in a row, because why not? 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, now go ahead and find the ball with your ankle. Try to roll it in and roll it out. Roll it in. I'm just going through the music. You might be going a little bit slower or faster. Especially if you're going without the ball, probably go slow to make sure you can really check that your legs are doing the right thing. And try to check that your ankle's awake every now and then. All right, lower down, let's do the other side. So I'm kind of in a second position here with my legs, and the ball is right in the center. So when I'm doing my rond de jambe, I am going almost like across the midline a little bit. Here we go, let's do our 8 rond de jambe, second leg. Lift around, bring it back. 2, bring it back. 3, keep going. 4, now let's do 4 more here. 5, 6, 7, 8, and then go ahead and find the ball with your ankle, or like the lower bit of your shin, and then roll it around. Extend and stretch, keep the knee going to the side, ankle going up. You can probably see at this point why a squishier ball makes this a little bit easier. Also, one maybe a little bit bigger than mine is. But whatever works. Try a couple more for yourself. Alright, rest. Let's be done with this position for a little bit. You can put yeah, you can put away the ball. Unless you want to use it as an obstacle. Really quick, let's do the reverse of this. That means we're going to come onto all fours. Please don't forget to drink water whenever you need to. If you need a break or a second. We're going to come into this all fours position. I'll just describe it first. I've got my knees together and my ankles together. You may have done this with me before. And what I'm going to do, make sure you have space behind you, actually. I don't have that much space behind me. We're basically going to do like a clamshell in this position, or like a fire hydrant type thing. So you're going to lift the knee and lower down. We'll do a few just to warm up, just clamshells without swinging your hips around. And then from here, you're going to go open, extend behind you, pull it in, put it down, open, extend behind you. So notice when I pull it in, I don't drop the knee. I keep the knee lifted up and lower. Okay, that's the sequence. So you're still working your attitude position. This external rotation, you're trying to get that knee up to the side before you close it in. All right, hopefully you're with me. Let's just do like 8 quick little clamshells on each leg before we do it with the extension. Here we go, ready? Let's open 1 and lower. 2, and press into the hands, out of the shoulders. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, switch legs right away. Here we go. Lift other side. 1 and lower. 2, 3, 4. Keep going. 5, 6, 7. All right, switch the other leg. Here we go. We're lifting up, stretch it out, pull it in, lower. Again, up, stretch it out, in, keep going. Let's do 8 of these as well. Keep pressing out of your hands. If you want like a super challenge, you can do this with your toe off the floor. Here, stretch it out, turned out, bring it in, put it down. But that's quite hard. Lift, extend, pull it in, lower it down. This song is slower. 2 more, extend, pull it in, lower down. Last one, extend, pull it in. Give your hips a quick little wiggle, and then right away to the other side. Ready, we go. Lift, extend back, pull it in, keep the knee up, lower down. Open first, extend, pull it in, lower down. Slower is harder. So no worries if you need to stop earlier on the second side. That means we have 4 more left here at this pace. Check in with your shoulders every now and then. Check in. Imagine you're still sitting, so you still have this like shoulders stacked on top of hips feeling with the spine straight. So watch that you're not like sagging or doing anything too weird with the midsection of your body. Last one. All right, sweet. Sit back, rest. While we're here, we're gonna go onto your belly, do a little bit more back extensions for your arabesque. And then we'll go back over to do some back moms. Let me just check the time, make sure we're still good. Sure. All right. Come on down to your belly. Here is where you might want to pad underneath your hip if you want. We're going to do a couple things here. They're connected. So we'll start with just working on your back. You can stack the hands and you can rest your forehead on top of your hands. Let's try to take the legs turned out if you can, and always active, like you are actually standing on them. We're just going to lift with your back here, okay? Let's just do that to warm up. Lift and lower down. 2, 3, 4. Keep going, let's do 8 here. 6. 'Now let's just do one more here and hold. If you want to take your arms through port de bras, go for it. I'm running into the wall. You can even take the arms back behind you and see if you can squeeze your shoulder blades in tight and lift yourself up a little bit more that way. Imagine you're grabbing onto something behind you to pull yourself up. All right, relax. We're gonna do that with a little bit of a flutter kick arabesque thing. These are not high. You'll have a limit to extension on this side. It's gonna be pretty low. This is gonna be like a couple inches off the floor. So if you start rocking, you've gone too far. Keep it small. You will feel the difference because you'll feel your glutes working with it. So each time you lift your leg, we're gonna do the back extension and lower, and then switch sides and lower, like that. Ready? 6, 7, here we go, let's go. Lift and lower. We'll go slow first and then quick. Lower. 3, lower, make sure the legs are still long, knees are not bending. Let's go a little bit quicker. 1, switch. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep going if you can, or slow down, or take a break, up to you. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. Stretch out your back. All right, let's lay down on your back. Work through a little bit of your leg extension here. Make sure you have space to stretch out your legs. We're gonna do one leg at a time though. So we're gonna start with knees up, feet planted here. You can keep your arms out to the side if that helps to balance. And then try to have as neutral of a back as you can. In this position, what we're going to do is you're going to extend out one leg all the way down. You're going to lift it up as much as you can without losing your extension or rocking or anything like that. And you're going to carve it in to bring it down. And then we'll do the other leg. Lift, carves in, bring it down. All right? Let me think about this. Do we want to do a flex? Maybe we'll do that. Yeah, how about we stretch it out, pointed, you carve it up, flexed, and then you carve it down, pointed. Or maybe we press it out, flex. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do a little bit of nerve gliding as we do this. All right, I hope you get the exercise. It's basically envelope. So you're gonna stretch out, lift up, carve it back in. Keep the core engaged so that there's not too much of this happening. It should stay more or less in the same position. Shoulders wide. All right, ready? Here we go. Let's go first leg, stretch out, lift up, carve it in, switch to the second leg. Squeeze it out, squeeze it up, carve it in. And then again, first leg. Lift it up, carve it in. So flexed as you push out, flexed, still flexed, pointed as you bring it in. Keep going. Flexed, flexed. You will feel that through the hamstring for sure. Flexed, like your heel is pulling out away from your hip. Keep going. Lift, carve in. And then last one here. Out, carve in. I want to reverse it. So we're going to reverse it to stretch out first and then lower down here, pull in. Let me decide what I want to do with the feet though. Let's keep the same sequence. Let's do flexed on the way out and then pointed when you draw it in. So that means we're going to go flexed up to the ceiling and then pointed as we pull it in. Flexed out to the ceiling and then pointed as we pull it in. Flexed out to the ceiling and then pointed. In fact, we can even take the resting foot a little bit more active with just the toes touching the floor. Keep going. Flex on the way out. Point as you pull it in. Flex on the way out. Point as you pull it in. Let's do one more here. Flexed. Pull it in. All right, rest. Anytime you're up here in this position and you're moving through flex and point and knee bent and knee stretched and ankle, rolling inward or rolling outward, this is really prepping you more for stretching because you're sliding your nerves around too, which is sometimes more of a limit to your mobility than you might think. Because nerves aren't super stretchy, but they do slide around. So you gotta kind of lubricate their pathways the same way you do with your joints, with all our little shoulder rolls and stuff. Okay, let's see what time we're at. Perfect. Let's come to, let's do a little bit more of our Grammy stuff, but let's also turn it into a stretch kind of thing. So let's go back to our butterfly. Quickly remember our contractions and breathings and stuff like that. So let's glue the heels together. Maybe take the feet a little bit further out, and we'll cycle through just a few of these. So just remind yourself where this is. Shoulders stacked, contraction like you're coughing or throwing up. Here, contract, then crown touches down. Release to a flat back, sit up, again, contract, crown down, release. Here from center, 2 more like that, contract, crown down, release. These are very, like, boom, hard movements, kind of, but they ripple. Okay, so we're gonna try that in a pike position too. Again, if you need to put something under your bum, please do that. There are like feet and arms that go with this, but we're just gonna keep it simple. You can keep your arms here. And in this position, try the same thing. See if you can go contract, head down, release, sit up, contract, head down, release, sit up, keep going, contract, head down, release, sit up, and last one. It's probably the least comfortable position to do this in. Let's take the legs out to a straddle, or a second position. I teach gymnastics too, so the words just, whichever one is available in the moment. So take a second position, same as everything. Make sure it's one where you're able to sit right on top. If you're like this, make your legs smaller. We haven't really stretched this today, so this should be relatively comfortable. You should feel a stretch, but it's not, you should still be able to sit tall and like be comfy and move around in it. So we're gonna do some stuff in this position. For instance, those little Grammy contractions. So find your china, make sure your toes are up. You can take the hands maybe here so you can help catch yourself, but you're also using your turnout to prevent yourself from face planting as well. Sitting stacked, shoulders right on top. We do our contraction here, and then your crown comes down. You release here, you're leaning forward quite a bit. Now you'll feel that stretch, and then sit up. So here, not really much of a stretch. Down there, stretch. All right, that's your position. Find it, and let's cycle through this thing a few times. Sit up tall. This is kind of a stretch, but also kind of a covert thing. Here we go. Ready? We go contract, head down, release, sit up, keep going here. Contract, head down, release, sit up, keep the toes up as you work here. Release, sit up. One more this pace. Contract, head down, release, sit up. All right, let's just float here for a little bit. Now let's go reaching side and side, side. Keeping the arms super duper long and keeping the hips down into the floor. Let's go reaching over to one side. So even though I'm like, this isn't here, this is still sideways. It's a stretch basically this way. This arm is just going under here for convenience, more or less. I'm still facing fully front. I haven't turned. You can even use this hand to like brace against the floor. You should feel that stretch right in here if you're keeping your hip down. It's more of a body stretch than a inner thigh type of stretch. But think about it. If you're aiming to get your legs up to your ears or whatever when you're doing your second position grand battement, this stretch has to also be resolved, you know? Okay, let's just come through center. Press yourself up, and we'll do the other side with a little bit of a reach. Here we go. Over this side, up to go over. Super duper long from this hip all the way through fingertip up there. Sideways, so you're still facing forward into the screen. And then go ahead and walk your hands through the front. And recover. What time are we? Perfect. Love it. Timing is working out well today. Okay, ready? Now let's see if you can kind of, you'll have to pitch forward a little bit. Try not to drop your toes. See if you can reach for both toes. You may not be able to touch them, that's okay. We're just trying to kind of maintain your turnout and take your body a little bit forward. This is still quite a flat back if you can, and if you can hold it here, use your muscles, like use your quads, use everything to maintain this position. Hold on to it first. This is an easier way of doing this one that we do. All your center of mass is a little bit closer to your base of support in this one, so it's not as hard. Alright, if you want the challenge, you can take the arms out and try to hover. And then let's just take fingertips down either way, so you can go relax into it a little bit. Maybe wiggle your legs out. If you are using your quads to hold, give them a bit of a break. Just drop the head down wherever you are. Shake it out. Feel free, as always, to kind of sway side to side. Use this time for yourself if you need to just take your hands around to focus on different areas of this stretch. Alright, let's go ahead and sit up. Use your hands to help your legs. Give them a hug. Give them a, let's counter that a little bit. Let's go inward. Knee drops. I always forget what these are called, but it's the most descriptive name. Alright, real quick, because we worked our turnout and our peroneals, let's do two things here. First one, it's kind of like a hamstring stretch, but we're going to actually stretch those guys again. So you can bend the knee. I don't know how to best show this. Remember that thing we did standing up, where you went on the outside of your foot? It's that. So you can take that and give yourself a bit of a stretch there. Just pulling your foot into kind of a supinated, inverted position. You won't probably feel it as much here as when you do it standing, but just a little bit. And then the same thing on the other side. Let that foot kind of go inward. If this doesn't work for you, you can of course do the standing version. You can do it with a bit of a knee bend and you just won't feel it really as much because you gotta keep this part of it stretched if you can. Okay, let's come to seated, and let's go into a little pretzel for our last few minutes here. Oh, last 1 minute. Okay, change my mind. We're gonna do whale tail because it's faster. You can do a number 4 stretch if that's more your jam. This guy, you know, where you cross the leg and then you hug. Actually, let's do that. I feel that more today. Let's do that. I'll face this way so you guys can see. Even though you're probably laying down on your back. Alright, cross one leg on top of the thigh. Reach through the number 4 to grab around the bottom of your other thigh. And then hug it in. You could always do some little nerve glides for yourself here at the same time, but if it distracts from your stretch, just focus on that. You can always do this seated in a chair as well. And then let's switch sides. So take the other ankle across, reach through the number 4 and around to go underneath the thigh and hug it in. Alright, go ahead and release the legs, give them a hug, roll around side to side if you want. And I think that brings us to the end. Oh yeah, 12:31. Let me scoot closer. Thank you guys. Hopefully that was the right choice for the type of hot weather day that we're having. And a lot of those exercises, all that turnout stuff, all of that is very useful to think about and to practice in addition to our standing bar. So, oh great, I'm glad. Perfect amount of exertion. Good. I think it's easier to modify too when you're just on the floor. So yay. Next week hopefully we'll be back to like a regular type class. And we'll remember all the stuff we've been working on. So have a lovely week, you guys. Stay cool. And see you next time. Bye.